So, you've been told that in order to get what you want, you need to become a match for it. You need to match the frequency of your desire. But how do you actually do that? How do you change your frequency so that you get what you want? Today I'm gonna share with you exactly how you master your frequency, the exact process to manifest faster and easier than ever before. Hi, I'm Cristina. I'm a success hypnotherapist and quantum jumping coach. And if you are ready to go beyond what is predictable and into what is possible in your business, in your life, then you are in the right place. Now guys, before we dive into the exact process that will help you forever master your frequency and your manifestations, here what I want you to remember. Everything in the universe is energy, and energy vibrates, and the level of vibration is called frequency. If the energy vibrates fast, then that is called high frequency. And if the energy vibrates slowly, then that is called low frequency. The closer we get to the source, the faster energy moves and the higher the frequency. The farther away we are from the source, the farther away we get from the source, the slower the energy gets and the lower the frequency gets. All this is to say that everything is energy and everything vibrates. You, me, your dog, your garden, your chair. Now here's where things are getting interesting. Each level of frequency corresponds to a level of consciousness, and each level of consciousness corresponds to a level of reality. So I want you to imagine with me the quantum field where there are all these parallel realities, all these lifelines, each one corresponding to a level of consciousness that corresponds to a level of frequency. Now the high frequency realities are those realities where the energy moves faster, there is less friction, things are happening more effortlessly. And in the lower frequency realities, energy is moving slower. There is more friction, there is more struggle to change things. This is one thing that I want you to remember. The second thing is that everything is already created. All possibilities exist. You exist in this reality, but all the other realities that you can imagine and can't imagine already exist also. They live in the quantum as latent potential, and that potential gets activated when you infuse it with your emotions, and we'll be speaking exactly about how we do that a bit later. Now the third thing that I want you to remember is that we experience reality based on our frequency, and you can think of it like this. Think of those moments when everything feels dark. You just see challenges, you just see problems, you just see, being blocked and stuck and in looping realities, and you don't see any way out. And then something beautiful happens, something good happens in your business, in your life, and your state changes. And as your state changes, you start seeing solutions, you start receiving ideas, you start receiving opportunities, you start experiencing completely different outcomes, you start experiencing a completely different reality. The difference is driven by the change in your frequency. Now, the last thing that I want you to know before we dive into the process is that the frequency is giving us access to a certain reality, but that reality lives only between the limits of that frequency, which means that when we live at a certain vibration, at a certain level of consciousness, then we live within the limits of the reality that corresponds to it. And it's very hard to experience other realities that correspond to different levels of frequency, different levels of consciousness. And I want you to think of all those people who are winning the lottery and suddenly they jump from one reality to another reality, from one frequency to a different frequency, but because that is not their frequency, there are so many studies that are showing how lottery millionaires are returning to their initial state of money, of wealth, within 5 years. They lose all their money, the millions, the wealth is just going away because their consciousness is not matching the level of the reality where they temporarily jump. So no matter, the ups and downs that we have when it comes to our experiences, we'll always return to our base, to our resident frequency, which has a resident reality. And think of it also this way. Let's say that maybe you are making on average $2,000 per month, and sometimes you are making $5,000 or $7,000, but there is an invisible ceiling, an invisible cap that you can't really push through, and you always stay between the same old limits. We stay more or less between the same limits as long as we stay within the same frequency. Now here's one big mistake that I'm seeing so many people making. They try to act, they try to show up at a higher level of consciousness than their current level, and they soon sabotage themselves because they are limited by their subconscious paradigm, by their subconscious software. And the reason is because your level of consciousness will always be kept at the level of your subconscious paradigm, at the level of your subconscious software, and you can't operate outside of it. So if you want to get to a higher frequency, if you want to play into a higher reality, you first need to elevate your subconscious paradigm. You first need to elevate your consciousness, and I'm gonna share with you exactly how you do it step by step. Now the first part of our process is to step out of the survival mode. And hear me out, there are so many people who went through so much trauma in their lives, and most people don't know how to process that trauma. They are walking with that trauma into every day of their lives, and they are living it and carrying it in their bodies, in their subconscious, as if it's happening now. And this means that most people are living with highly dysregulated nervous systems, are living in the survival mode, in the mode where we are always vigilant, we are in high alertness, always looking for the potential risk coming to us, always looking for the other shoe that might drop, always looking for what we need to protect ourselves from. And when the body is in the survival mode, the body directs the biggest parts of energy to the surviving functions, which means that there is no more energy left for creation, for what we actually want to create. So this is a step that not many people are talking about. Before we are manifesting, before we are raising our frequency, before we are jumping into higher levels of consciousness and realities, we need to do the groundwork. We need to prepare the foundation, and this means getting out of the survival mode. This means regulating the nervous system. This means cultivating a feeling of safety inside our bodies. This means learning how to open up our heart. Now, the practice of the nervous system regulation is so important, and you can do it in so many ways. You can use the somatic work, you can use the breath work, you can use the emotional tapping. You can choose from so many practices in order to regulate your nervous system. Just go and find the way that works the best for you and you prefer working with. The other thing that is important is practicing the feeling of safety, reminding yourself what it feels like to feel safe in your body. Play with it's safe to be, it's safe to be me, it's safe to be in my body, it's safe to be in my business, it's safe to be in my life, it's safe to feel safe, it's easy to feel safe. And play with these frequencies, letting yourself feel them. Just by playing with this frequency and normalizing safety in their bodies, I saw so many clients creating massive changes in their lives. Suddenly, opportunities, ideas, creativity, people, encounters started flowing in just because they stabilized themselves into a feeling of safety. The other thing that is important is to open up your heart. Many people in survival mode put so much protection around their heart, and this means that we tend to not let ourselves feel. It's like we have all these walls around the heart that are preventing us from feeling, are preventing us from creating something new. And the way to blast through these walls is literally by doing meditations where you place your attention on your heart. The more attention you give to your heart, the more energy you give to your heart, and those walls are eventually blasted and your heart is opening up. Now something amazing happens when your heart starts to be opening up. It immediately sends a signal to your brain that says we are past the trauma, we are past the pain. When the heart is opening up, the brain gets the signal that it's safe to enter into the creation mode. You get out of the survival and into the creation mode, and this is where the magic starts happening. So this first step is absolutely essential. The second step of our process is to get clear on what you want. And you can use this journal prompt. If I could have anything I wanted, if nothing was wrong, if everything was allowed, what would I truly want? What would I truly want in my business, in my relationship with money, in my body, in my health, in my relationship with my partner, in my lifestyle, in my relationship with myself? Let yourself dream, let yourself go wild in your imagination. Now, the third step of the process is to get clear on who is the version of you that already has what you want. Because stepping into that version is gonna give you what you want. So ask yourself this question: if I were the version of me that already has what I want, that already lives in that reality, what would I be thinking like? What would my beliefs be? What would I be feeling like? What would I be showing up like? What would I be behaving like? What would I be carrying myself like? And what would I say to my current self now? Let yourself receive the answers. Now, the fourth step of our process is focus. And hear me out. The only way to jump from your current reality into your desired reality, to jump from your current level of consciousness into a higher level of consciousness, is by shifting from one frequency to a higher frequency. And the only way to do that is through focus. By holding the awareness of the reality that you want, by focusing on it. And this focus part is the biggest challenge for most people, because our attention span nowadays is shrinking, because we are taught to always chase instant gratification, and because we are taught to pay more attention to the physical world, to the noise around us, than to our imagination, to our inner world. And all this makes most people get defeated when it comes to focus, but not you, because these two things that I'm gonna share with you now will be helping you immensely. So before you sit down to visualize your higher self, to visualize your desired reality, to pay attention and to focus on what you are creating, first call your energy and attention back to you. Because when we are leaking energy, we don't have enough energy for our creation. The second thing that is equally important is to unsubscribe from your old reality. Unsubscribe from everything that you don't want. When we place our attention on something, we give it our energy. So instead of feeding what you don't want, feed your creation, feed your desired reality, feed your new level of frequency. So instead of feeding those old parts that you don't want, place your emotions, place your energy into your imagination. Now guys, here's how usually things are playing out. You sit down, you visualize for a while, and then you get tired. And as you get tired, your mind starts taking over. You start thinking about the person that didn't answer you, the potential client. You start thinking about how you didn't get sales on your new program yet. You start thinking about how messy your current love relationship is. You start thinking about the pain in your body. You start thinking about how things are not working out. You start defaulting on the known. You start defaulting on the old subconscious patterns that are keeping you in old reality loops. And this is why it's so important to have a strong focus. But a strong focus is not something that we are given or we are born with. A strong focus is something that you build for yourself. And you build it by training like an athlete trains for the Olympics. You go every day and you practice your focus. You put your attention, your awareness on what you are creating, on what you are stepping into. And every time you feel like you are defaulting on all patterns, you bring your attention back to what you want. And you practice, you train inside yourself, detaching from your body, from your environment, from time. You start connecting to that reality, to that new frequency and consciousness from above time, from above your environment, from above your body. And the more you do that, the stronger your focus becomes. The more you master your focus, the more you master your emotions, and the more you master your reality. Now guys, the fifth step of our process is to relax into your resistance. And I know that it sounds a bit strange, so let me explain. When you are about to break through the upper limit of your current reality, there is a big resistance that starts kicking in inside yourself. Because once you move from one reality to another reality, your old self that lived in that old reality must die. There is a part of you, an old identity that is being left behind, that is dying, and your ego that loves the status quo will be fighting with all the tools. So resistance is actually the sign that you are about to break through. It's the moment when things are breaking down, when things are exploding in your life, when you feel this feeling of discomfort and pressure, when you are given other directions that feel safer, feel more comfortable, and it's up to you if you want to take the easy way out. But when you hit this moment of resistance, remember that this is your sign that you are about to break through. And in these moments of resistance, there are two things that you can do. The first one is to relax into the resistance, meaning let the resistance be. Don't fight the resistance, because resisting the resistance creates more resistance. Something that I keep encouraging people to do is to remind themselves, even if I have this resistance, it's still possible for me to get what I want, or this is how it looks like me getting what I want in the end. So let the resistance just be. Relax into it in the sense of let it be. And the second thing that is so important to do is to keep focus. Keep focusing on where you are going. Keep focusing on your imagination. Keep focusing on who you are at the level where you want to be playing and how reality feels like there. The last step is be happy now. And hear me out. Many times when we are creating a new reality, we are moving with our manifestation to another level of reality, we make this big mistake. We one day our happiness. We feel like we will be happy once we get there. We will feel safe once we get more money. We will feel happy once we have the relationship. We will feel satisfied once we feel healthier in our body. We will feel wealthy once we, have more clients and more sales. But one day happiness, one day joy is just keeping us separate from it, because happiness is not a future event, it's not something that you do in the future. Happiness is a now feeling, and the only moment where you can access it is now. So this is your reminder to find ways to romanticize your life, find ways to feel gratitude, to connect to gratitude inside yourself for what you already have. Let yourself go through your days, feeling gratitude for your coffee while you are sipping it, looking through the window. Let yourself feel contentment when you are playing with your kid. Let yourself feel happiness, contentment when you are giving a hug to your loved ones. Let yourself be happy outside of your goals. Let yourself be happy now. And the more you build this feeling of wholeness and completeness inside yourself, the less you will need what you are moving towards. And then you become a match. You become a match for that frequency. You become a match for that consciousness. And you get to have it way faster and easier than ever before. Now guys, if you enjoy these teachings, then I'm inviting you into my new live experience, the Money Mojo, the place where you calibrate to increasing money flow and increasing ease. And if you enjoy this video, let me know in the comments, give it a like and hit the subscribe button and the bell button. And don't forget this, you are magical and you are taking your reality now to a whole new level. Watch this video in order to jump directly into higher reality.